Okay. Howdy, folks. Hoping you have a blessed day. I'm just going to review the natural aids to communication with your horse and what they do for different body parts of the horse. And this is from my perspective. I'm David. Howdy. And I like to think this is right out of the book, but people can disagree. And in my world, I don't care whether it's English or Western, although there is one difference, and I'll cover that quickly. So I have 5 natural aids to communication. One is my voice. We don't use that in competition because if you happen to be with 10 other horses warming up and you say ho, how many horses are going to stop? If they're all voice trained, they should all stop. Or if you kiss for a canter, which is using your voice, all the horses might decide they should be cantering. So voice isn't supposed to be used when you're with other horses. And then the other 4 aids we've got hands, legs, seat, and weight. Okay, and what I'm going to review is what the different aids are connected to in terms of body parts of the horse. My hands can be connected with through the reins with any parts of the horse, shoulders, hips, or barrel. And this depends on which hand I'm using and which way. I'm not going to use the technical terms for them, but if I want to talk to this shoulder and use a steering wheel, I'm going to use I will call it a direct rein, which means I'm going to put pressure on this rein straight at this hip. If I put pressure straight back on this, that right foot should step to the right. You can see the nose gives, and then the foot steps to the right. Okay? That's called a direct rein. So this right hand is connected to that right shoulder. But if I take this same rein, and instead of pulling it back toward this hip, I pull it back toward my opposite hip diagonally, instead of talking to this right shoulder, I'm going to talk to this right hip. So I'm going to pick up this same rein, I'm going to pull it back but at an angle toward my other hip bone and watch his hip go. Now he's moved his right front foot, but he shouldn't have. He should have just moved the hip. So you can see that's connected to the hip. Now I'm going to put him back straight again. Okay, so that right hand can talk to this isn't my horse, sorry. So that right hand can talk to the shoulder or the hip, and if I simply open it directly sideways and simultaneously close my other rein, I can talk to the entire horse, the barrel of the horse. I'm talking in that case the shoulders and the hips. Open it up and apply a leg to mean go, and the whole horse is going to go sideways. Okay, so again, that's the hand aid. Now there's different conditions because we've got 2 hands, and with a snaffle bit, technically you never use both hands at the same time. Theoretically, you do when you do a 2-handed stop or even a 1-handed stop, you pull back on the reins. But in my world, you always have a millisecond difference between the first and the second rein. You bring in the inside rein first, and then you bring in the outside rein for the stop. Okay, that's in my world. So, but most of the other time, you can use both hands in a different way. So, for example, if I wanted to do a leg yield where I'm moving at a 30-degree angle with this horse, I'm going to have my left rein talking to the left hip so I can cock my hip over sideways. My right rein is going to be talking to my right shoulder. So in that case, I'm going to do this, and my legs are going to come on and go. And now I'm using both reins, but they're talking to different body parts. And we'll put him back where he was. Okay, so that's generally the hand aid. And there are other conditions, like there's something called the rein of opposition. If I want to ask one body part to go in one direction, but the other body parts to not move, then one rein, I will hold that rein while the other rein is telling him to do something. Like, for example, if I want that right foot to step out, but I don't want him to go forward, okay, I'm going to bring my left rein in and say don't go forward because my legs have to come on, which always means move. So in that case, I'm going to pick up that right rein and bring the front end around, but my left rein is blocking forward movement. That's called the rein of opposition. So it's kind of like playing the piano where your right hand is treble and your left hand is bass. They're both playing in synchronous with each other. but meaning different things to different body parts. So that's just a quick review of the hand aid. And there's a lot of other things we can do with our hands through the bit. But leg aid. Now this is where there is a slight difference between English and Western. Technically in the English world, it's frowned upon to ever move your leg forward. They want your heel always lined up with your hip and your shoulder. Most people say for balance, which is absolutely wrong, but that could be another discussion. So in the Western world, we steer with our legs. We steer the shoulders with our legs, which means we bring our leg forward. I bring my leg forward half an inch and close my calf, and when I do that, I'm talking to the left shoulder. But other than that, legs mean go forward. If I bring them on in a regular riding position and bring my calves together, it means go. He is going. Yeah, I didn't want to go very far. All I did was just slightly close my legs. Now, if I bring the leg back an inch, I talk to the hip on this side. This leg back 1 inch, close it. I'm talking to the hip. If I bring my left leg back 1 inch, close it. I'm talking to his left hip to go right. Okay, let's get centered again. So the legs in the Western world can be the same as the hands. They can work on either shoulders, hips, or barrel of the horse. If I don't move this leg forward or afterward, but I just close this leg and open this leg, the whole horse should go left. Nah. Yeah. Still working on. There we go. There's his legs. There's his leg. That's off my right leg, but I have to admit I'm using my hands too, because he's a little confused by it. But theoretically, that's how you would communicate to your whole horse to go sideways, is close one leg and open the other leg. I'm exaggerating. Okay, or in the Western world, I can bring a leg half an inch forward, talk to the shoulders, and steer my horse with my legs, or talk to the back end with my legs. Of course, most of the time you don't move your back end with your legs a whole lot because it takes away impulsion. You always want impulsion. Okay, so that's the leg aid. Now there's something called the weight aid, which has been forgotten in most horsemanship. It's not written down in classical books very well. People get it confused with the seat aid. The seat aid is weight distribution on your seat bones. Your seat aid talks to the hips of the horse. As I ride, my shoulders, what I do with my shoulders corresponds to what I want my horse to do with its shoulders. My hips correspond to the horse's hips. If I stop moving my hips, my horse should stop. If I add weight in my left seat bone, I'm going to drive his left hip away from that weight, away from that pressure. So if I want the hip to go left, and this would be like a haunches in, I'm going to add weight to my left seat bone, and that kicks the hip over. That's my seat aid. If I use both seat cheeks at the same time, I've got 3 hip positions. In terms of rotation of my hip bones, there's a forward position where I'm rolling forward on my pubic bone, and that lightens your seat bones, and it should be telling your horse to go faster. Then, of course, you have the middle neutral position, and when you're in the neutral position, you're just either adding weight to one bone or the other. If I add weight to both seat bones, if you look at my hips here, I'm rotating my hips back. Notice I'm not leaning my shoulders back. I'm rotating, rolling my hips back. When I do that with my seat bones, it means stop. I'll come into the camera and demonstrate that. Now he doesn't know this very well, so I might use my hands too, and I like to say, and ho. And he should stop just like that. And in the Western world, if you waggle your toes, it also means back. He doesn't know that yet. So that's the seat aid. The weight aid is only connected to the steering wheel, the shoulders. And matter of fact, I will demonstrate this in a second. I'm going to get off this horse, and I'm going to ask one of the ladies behind the camera to demonstrate this. If I add pressure in my right foot and the toes of my foot, the horse's shoulders ought to come right, like that. If I add weight, overweight my left foot, the horse's shoulders ought to come left. It adds to my steering wheel. But you have to be real good at controlling your weight distribution in your feet. I personally think about having Stay Puft marshmallows under the balls of my feet, and normal riding, this is a regular size Stay Puft marshmallow, I crush that marshmallow by half as I'm riding. If I want to turn right, I'm going to add weight in my right foot in the stirrup to crush that marshmallow completely. You can also do differential. If I want to side pass my horse, I can talk to both shoulders by crushing this marshmallow completely and crushing this down to a quarter of the size. If I do that, the horse is going to side pass to the right. That's my weight aid. So my weight aid is connected to my shoulders. My seat aid is connected to my hips. My hands can be connected to any of the body parts, and my feet can be connected to any of my body parts unless I'm English. And I haven't had a good explanation from any English riding instructor when I ask them the question, how do you steer the horse with your feet, your legs? Because your hands are supposed to be the last aid you use. And they go, I don't have a way of doing that. So unless somebody else has a different answer to that, that's a review of my aids. I'm gonna get off this guy real quick, like. And Kiki, you don't need that. Just come on out here, please. I'm gonna move this guy out of the way slightly. Now, have I ever shown you the weight aid like this before?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. So you're gonna face that way. I'm gonna ask you to grab my index fingers in your hands, like that. And your only job is to keep moving forward or do what you think I want you to do. Okay. So start walking, please. And so this is my fingers are my feet, and her hands are the stirrups. She's turning right. Now she's turning left. Keep walking, keep moving forward, keep moving forward, keep moving forward. Doesn't have to be forward. Which way do you think you should move? Try to move. Try to move. Try to move. Try to move. There we go. Okay, she's side passing, and if I put weight, equal weight in both of my feet, now move forward. So I'm steering her with my fingers or my feet in the stirrups. Try this at home sometime and you'll see this is the weight aid. It's exquisitely sensitive once the horse figures it out. Thank you.
Demonstrate T.
Yes.